Welcome back. Today we are in the cute little town of Zermatt in Switzerland, which is in the shadow of the very famous Matterhorn peak. Today we're going to be hiking all day long. We are so excited to get on the trail.
We right now are headed over to buy some tickets to a funicular cable car, which is going to bring us up the mountain. That way we can start our hike. We are doing one of the more popular hikes around here called the 5 Lakes hike. So it's essentially just a circuit where you visit 5 different lakes. You could walk the entire thing, however that adds an extra 8 miles and 3,000 feet of elevation gain. And so we've just opted to go for the funicular car this morning, kind of cut out some of that extra work, and it's kind of fun just to ride in the funicular cars.
The super interesting thing about Zermatt is that there's actually no cars allowed here. So what we had to do yesterday was park our car in a nearby town and then take a train into Zermatt. It did cost $40 to park there and another $40 to take the train into Zermatt. We also got one of the cheapest options we could find in town for a stay, which was a $150 hotel that has a shared bathroom, shared kitchen, and we actually have a great view of the Matterhorn, which unfortunately barely peeked out yesterday because it was stormy, but it's already a little bit clearer today. So fingers crossed we'll be able to see it from the 5 Lakes hike.
So unfortunately, I'm pretty sure this whole thing is through a tunnel up the mountain, so we're not going to get any good views. However, we're honestly kind of okay with that because we took a cable car to do a different hike, and the cable car just got stuck midair. We're just stranded there for 5 minutes. It was an unmanned cable car. You just kind of did everything on your own. We tried calling down. No one answered. Finally, it just started going, but it was not a pleasant experience. And so we're happy to be in a train rather than another cable car today. So we've now made it up here to Sanega, which is where we're going to start the 5 Lakes hike.
There is the beautiful Matterhorn. About 3,000 people each year summit this amazing peak. Since it was first summited in 1865, over 500 people have lost their lives trying to climb it. When it was summited, it was in a tight race between the English and the Italians, with the English making it to the top first. The Matterhorn actually straddles Italy and Switzerland since we are right on the border here. The hike that we're doing today is about 8 miles, and like we said before, it goes to 5 beautiful lakes, 3 of which should have a reflection of the Matterhorn. If it's peeking out, it's a little cloudy today. And then 2 of the lakes you're supposed to be able to swim in. It's June, it's still a little chilly. Not sure if we're gonna do that or not, but it is an option. So we have made it to the first of the 5 lakes for today. So this one's called Stellici. So you can either take a cable car up here to cut out the elevation, or like we just walked for an hour. It was about 1,000 feet of elevation. It was not too bad, and it's so beautiful that the walk goes pretty quickly. The first of 5. But fun fact, the little mountain that is on the Toblerone chocolates is in fact the Matterhorn. This little treat is made here in Switzerland. We had to grab some to eat along our little hike today as we look at the Matterhorn, and I didn't realize it before, but the way it's shaped is little mountain tops for the little pyramid-shaped top of the Matterhorn. So we are now at the second lake. This one is called Grindesea, and we're unfortunately feeling our first raindrops, which is not a good sign, but it is such a beautiful lake with a waterfall running into it for lake number 2.
We're probably gonna have to start going a little bit faster, otherwise we're gonna get rained on. Last night it stormed pretty hard. There's a lot of lightning, a lot of thunder, a lot of rain. It's supposed to do that again tonight. It wasn't supposed to start till later in the afternoon, but looks like it might start earlier. We are now at Grindesea Lake, which is the third of the 5 lakes, which makes it the perfect time to stop and grab a little sandwich. We have some honey and peanut butter sandwiches here that we are going to eat for our lunch. We also found this nice little bench with a view of the lake, Matterhorn if it comes back out from behind the clouds, and just like all the mountains surrounding us. It's pretty nice out here. And it's kind of holding off on the rain so far, like it was sprinkling there for a bit, but the sun's back out right now, and so we're hoping to be able to finish this hike without getting completely rained on. So there's 2 lakes that you can swim in. This is one of them. It's very cold, but I think I'm just gonna go for it. That's quite refreshing.
We wanted to talk a little bit about prices here. Obviously, Zermatt, one of the most expensive places in the world to visit. To help save money, we make sandwiches, and there's actually a nice little co-op store right in the middle of Zermatt, and we were definitely not alone there. There were so many people buying groceries just to try to make the trip a little more affordable. So that's a little tip. Go to the grocery store and get yourself some groceries to make your own meals so that you don't have to buy meals at the mountain lodges.
When I was downstairs making the sandwiches this morning in the shared kitchen at our Airbnb, I saw several people all down there also making sandwiches.
And the grocery store was relatively affordable as far as Europe goes, so.
That being said, I think we still might try and find somewhere to grab some supper tonight in Zermatt. Somewhere maybe a little bit cheaper, but just to get away from all the sandwiches that we have been having.
And we are hungry, and all the restaurants there look amazing. So right here is number 4, which is Moisisi. You get a beautiful view of the Matterhorn. The top is covered up right now, but it's right there. It's such a light blue color, and it looks like it's some type of artificial dam that's been created as there's like a river flowing down into this area. So yeah, another pretty stop. 1 lake left. We have made it to our 5th and final lake for this hike, which is Lazy Lake. This one really brings us full circle as we are almost back to the train that goes back down through the mountain back into Zermatt. Fortunately, since it's windy, there isn't like perfect reflections like you see in a lot of pictures. You'd have to have a really calm, still day for that, but it is super pretty and a great way to end this 8-mile loop.
There were a couple other hikes we wanted to do around here, or like a couple ones that we wanted to do even before this one. However, unfortunately, there is still a lot of snow up in the mountains, which is where these other hikes were, and not all the lifts are running yet. There's some that don't open until July, and so we were not able to do some of those, and we just honestly didn't want to have to walk through waist deep snow or knee deep snow, which is why we picked this one, and it was a good one. We found a free little lift to get us the last 200 feet up. Probably not necessary, but it's free and kind of fun just to use this rather than walking the last little bit.
We're just praying this one doesn't randomly stop like the last one did, because that was absolutely terrifying. I'm not gonna lie, we were so high in the air. I didn't even take footage of it because I really thought we were in a really bad place and we're gonna have to get helicoptered out. So I just sat there petrified in fear. So I have no footage to prove it, but we were stuck in a gondola. We're almost there already. That was such a quick ride. We're being so lazy right now. We should have just finished it up, but it got hot. It says it's 60 degrees, but it feels like 80 or 90.
It's really just an excuse for us being lazy, but
we're so lazy. And just like that, how many hours later?
3.5 hours of walking, or like 4.5 total hours since we were last on this.
So next we're gonna head down into Zermatt to grab some food, go to a chocolate shop, and we might also go stop by the oldest barn in Europe because they have a barn here that was built in 1261 that is just a short walk. So we might go take a peek to that too. And yeah, just enjoy the rest of our day down in Zermatt. Now that our hiking is over, we already want to come back and ski in the winter. We feel like that would be so dreamy to ski here in the winter. Our new life goal.
I don't think we're skilled enough to come ski here. We'd have to do a lot of practicing before that, but it would be a lot of fun.
It's our new plan. Next thing we'll save up for once we're back is to come back and ski.
I got stuck in the slow line.
And just like that, we are back in Zermatt. Time to go to our Airbnb to set down our hiking stuff. Maybe have a quick instant coffee that we brought ourselves, another little cheap hack, and then go hit the town once we freshen up a little bit. So we are back in the town and we got some supper. I think we beat the dinner rush. But we found this cute little authentic looking restaurant called Wimperstube. I'm sure I said that super wrong. But we found some specials on their menu, including a traditional bratwurst served with fries. And then we got a little side of raclette, which is a kind of cheese here. So it's like melted gooey cheese, often used in fondues, but this one's just straight up on the plate. We weren't sure what it would come with, and it looks like it came with 2 little potatoes, pickles, 2 little onions, and then I do not know what this mystery sauce is, but let's find out. It almost tastes like maybe apple and mustard. I honestly have no idea. But this is just straight up melted cheese on a plate. Like, what? Only in Switzerland would you have straight up cheese melted on a plate. That's pretty funny. And so we're gonna split these 2 little dishes and give it a try. Actually, I'm trying to think, this might be my first bratwurst in Switzerland. The mustard sauces here are way, way stronger than the US. They really pack a punch, which is good because some of the bratwursts have lacked a little flavor, but this mustard definitely makes up for it, so I'll try it. This is probably my favorite bratwurst we've had so far. Tastes just like a brat, just bigger. Has really nice spices in it. This mustard though is unreal. I'm not a huge mustard person. The flavor is so good. I don't know if it's homemade or what, but Jordan loves cheese, so I'm gonna let him taste the raclette.
The raclette is definitely one of the 2 things I really wanted to try here, along with fondue. Like we said, very similar to fondue, whereas in fondue is all the way melted down, and then the raclette is just grilled and usually comes with potatoes like this one, also onions, pickles, and then either the apple or the pear. I'm really happy we found it here because here it was only $14. Most other places it was much closer to $30 per plate. Obviously not a ton here, but I'm excited to dig in. Delicious. Exactly as I expected. Just some delicious grilled cheese with a potato. You can't go wrong with that combination right there. We have now tried both fondue and raclette in Switzerland. It is time to move on, I believe.
There is fondue sold at all the restaurants here, but honestly it is so expensive. So I'm pretty glad that we tried it in Lucerne. We did a whole day that we dedicated just to doing a Swiss food tour, which was absolutely delicious. We did not choose to do it in Zermatt for the reason that the prices here are crazy. We looked at a lot of restaurants before we picked one out for supper, and they are pretty steep. Now we're just going to enjoy our authentic little dishes before we continue our walk and go check out the oldest barn in Europe.
So we just made it all the way up to Europe's oldest barn, and it was actually a lot more of a hike than I thought, but that's okay. It just means now I feel even more deserving of some Swiss chocolate once we make it back down in Zermatt. But now we have like a great view of Zermatt, and right here behind me are the barns that are super old. We've been seeing other buildings built like this, and we're like, why on earth are they up on stilts with like stone plates around them? And apparently it's for a couple of different reasons. So they're built up on stilts so that when it snowed heavily, they could still get up into the barn, like that snow wasn't like blocking the door or anything. And then also it allowed for air to like circulate underneath of it, which would like dry out the wood, dry out the barn a little bit, so it wouldn't get all wet and rotten. And then the stone plates apparently act as like a barrier to keep pests on the lower part below, and they like the bugs or whatever wouldn't be able to like get up and continue to eat away at the barn, and it would just kind of be contained down to the lower part. A very interesting and unique style that apparently was the way to build barns in Switzerland way back in the 1300s. And that barn right there was built in 1261, so like way back in the Middle Ages. So obviously they knew what they were doing. These were built very well because that barn is like nearly 1,000 years old, about 800 years old. And it's just crazy that it's actually still standing. However, it is starting to rain on us once again, so we're gonna head back down and find some chocolate. This bag of chocolate is $50.
So we just got the goods, show them the bag.
Got our little bag here.
Turns out we could barely afford chocolate there, which was the sad reality because everything looked amazing, but holy moly, it was more expensive. Well, probably as expensive as the Lucerne one, but yikes.
Also cost almost as much as our full supper. It was a whopping $25 for a thing of chocolate popcorn. And then in this bag, there's some like chocolate caramels, and it looked like some more like
pure chocolate squares, I would call it. It's like what we had in Costa Rica, it looks like. Anyway, it looks so yummy. But yeah, 100 grams of chocolate and chocolate popcorn, almost $30. This is our last day here. We're leaving tomorrow. We can't keep traveling here.
We knew Switzerland would blow our budget, and we were not wrong. It certainly blew our budget.
There's a whole huge lint store here too, but we can get lint in the US, so
true.
Not gonna bother. We're now back at our hotel. There's a nice little outside dining area, so it's time to try the chocolate. Little taste test here.
Chocolate popcorn.
Looks pretty good.
Big fan of popcorn, big fan of chocolate, big fan when they go together. Now for the main event, the little chocolate squares. The expensive part of the chocolate.
Literally. So we have praline caramels, and we have pave. I think that's how you say it, or pave, not sure. We're gonna do a questionable Google search quick. First, while I look up what pave is, Jordan, try a caramel praline. First, show the camera.
Absolutely filled with caramel. Definitely worth the 75 cents.
Okay, so according to Switzerland Tourism, what this little pave or paves or however you say it, it's a specialty chocolate created in the 1930s by makers in Geneva.
So bougie.
So bougie. So what it is, it's already melting in my fingers, and it's actually cold out here. It is a cube of chocolate dusted with cocoa powder that melts in your mouth. And honestly, that's like what we had at Costa Rica at the chocolate farm. They had like just cubes of pure chocolate dusted in cocoa, and I think it's my absolute favorite. And this is already melting, so I'm gonna stop talking and eat it. It's so pure, it's like fudge. It just truly melts in your mouth. It has the perfect cocoa dusted, and then the cube just melts. I think this is my favorite because I like just the pure milky chocolate, not added like nuts or fruits or whatever. Just give me the pure melty, gooey chocolate. This is amazing.
It is very hard not to go back there and just buy like a ton of chocolate. I feel like if we were just here on like a 2-week vacation, we would certainly do that. But when you're traveling for a full year, you go to a lot of places where you want to just drop a lot of money on like the food or the chocolates or the experiences. And so you just have to pick and choose. But we do like to like have just a little bit. Granted, this little bit was very expensive, but worth.
So this is unfortunately our last day in Switzerland, which is good for our budget, sad for us. Our time, however, is not over hiking in Europe. Next, we are headed to France to continue our little hiking journey here in the area. We hope you enjoyed watching this video and it helped you if you are looking to have a day or a couple days in Zermatt, but we will see you very soon in the next one.